Hello, 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 YouTube sphere. Happy, fantastic. Well, it's not fantastic. It is a fantastic day, but it's tantalizing. Terrific, triumphant Tuesday. It's a great day to have a great day. I'm about to get my other camera started. So here we go. It's another Real Estate Tuesday. I got to start off with a smile. It's Real Estate Tuesday, people, and I'm back. And I'm so happy to be back, y'all. You just don't even understand. Um, this is what I like to do. So happy, tantalizing, terrific, triumphant Tuesday. It's a great day to have a great day, y'all. I'm so elated to be here today. We were off, so I'm at home. So, we gonna still get it going a little late than usual, but we still here. So we talking to the homeowners today, but if you want us to become a homeowner, this is for you too, because of the fact that you can learn something from this. So when you do buy your home, that you will have the tools that you need. So let's get started. My name is Toria Howard, and I am a licensed real estate agent here in the beautiful city of Detroit and the surrounding areas. But just because I'm in Detroit does not mean I cannot assist you. My purpose is to educate families and individuals on how to increase their financial IQ so they can invest in themselves in order to purchase a personal property or an investment property. I have two ebooks that will assist you in that journey. First time homebuyers have Journey to Your Castle, which helps first time homebuyers go from concept to mindset, because your mindset has to change, goal setting all the way to the closing table. Then I have House Rich and Money Smart for homeowners. So showing you how to turn your home from a liability to an asset. So it's House Rich and Money Smart, how to turn your home into a wealth building powerhouse, showing you the financial strategies in order for you to live a life of generational knowledge so that you can build a generational wealth through your own personal home. And I know there's a lot of noise out there about people not buying a personal home. It's a liability and all of that, but those people have homes, people. Just saying. So follow, like, subscribe, share, do all of the things so people who need this information can get this information out to them. And if you're watching a replay, give me, some love in the comments. Show me that you came back to watch it. I would love to know what you think about this information. So let's talk about excuse me, the five top renovations that actually build equity. And this is what we are looking to do, especially if you know you're in a starter home, or you want to move on to another home, or it's your forever home and you want some upgrades and you want to get that extra oomph in your home. You're not just doing it for looks, you're doing it to build equity. So most people renovate for style. But you only renovate for style if you know that's going to be your forever home. Smart homeowners renovate for equity. So one way that you can see what's going on and what's the trends are, of course, you can watch HGTV and all those things like that. But go to open houses and different, houses that are on the market. Look at the pictures, or go to the open houses in your area and see what people are doing to renovate their homes. So today I'm going to be talking about, the top five renovations that will bring you the most equity, and it actually increases what your home is worth, because you want to increase your home worth with real numbers, not just pretty ideas. Of course, you want it to look pretty, but not just with pretty ideas. You're going to have some tools to be able to build that wealth as well. So you already know. Everybody should know. The first and foremost thing that everybody love, even if you don't use it that much, is the kitchen. Everybody wants to have a stunning kitchen, right? So kitchen updates, is the highest value room. It's the highest value room in your home. So a typical investment of a minor kitchen could be like 10,000 to 25,000. What does that look like? That's not moving any walls. That's not doing any major plumbing, electrical, or anything like that. That's just maybe refacing your cabinets, like stripping them down, painting them, changing the hardware, changing your fixtures, changing light fixtures, maybe countertops. That's what that means, right? So mid-grade range renovations for a kitchen will be like 25 to 50,000. This is if you are, removing walls, and it could get a little bit more. It could get higher than that, depending on what you have to do and what's happening underneath your home. So that's why you need to make sure you are doing your maintenance and making sure you're keeping up with the maintenance that needs to be done around your home. And you won't have those, when you try to renovate, you open up the walls and the floors and you see all this stuff rotting underneath. If you're doing your quarterly maintenance, I've done a video on that. If you're doing your quarterly maintenance, then that won't happen. But mid-range remodel is like 25 to 50,000. So the potential value add often increases home value by 15,000 to $40,000 just from the kitchen alone. So your common return will be 60 to 80% of the cost. So sometimes more if the market is strong. So you're talking about if you spend $50,000 on your kitchen, you can get, and if you're in a strong market, you're talking about up to 85% of your ROI coming back, your return on investment. That is something that you look forward to, because especially if you are about to sell, or if you are going to stay there, it's your forever home, and you want to get like a home equity line of credit, a HELOC, but you might use the HELOC for the renovations. But if you want to do something to add that equity so you can do something else, the only time equity comes into play, and I've done a video on that too, is when you want to do something that's going to make you more money. That's why buying a home is so essential. So the main things that you want to focus on in your kitchen is your cabinets, your countertops, your backsplash, your lighting, and appliances. People love good appliances, things that, stainless steel is still in. People still like stainless steel appliances. And a lot of people, a lot of trends are making like the cabinets and stuff seamless with with your refrigerator. Like all of that is the same color. So if you like white cabinets and your refrigerator looks the same as your cabinets, if you like white kitchens, I'm not a fan of white kitchens, but that's another story for a different day. So opening your layout can bring higher value as well. Some people like um, to have separate spaces. Some people like it open. Now you can still make it feel open without breaking down the whole wall, but just widening the entrance, especially if it's going to cost you a lot. Because if you're talking about taking down a wall and it's a low bearing wall, that could be a lot of your kitchen budget, and you want to use it more for the aesthetics and more and less for the underlying things that you need to do. So you have to, get with a contractor, of course, to understand what a low bearing wall is. That's the load that's bearing the top. If you have, like, especially if you have a top portion of your home, you have a second story, that's part of the beam uh, that is holding the load to your home. And it's also holding, if you don't have a ranch, it could be holding the load to your attic or your roof. So you want to make sure that you get with the best contractors. And in my ebook, House with Your Money Smart, I show you how to find the best contractors. And then move-in ready kitchen justifies a higher listing price. So if you're thinking about selling your home, that kitchen, even though a lot of people don't even use their kitchen for what it's supposed to be used for, cooking. A lot of people don't cook, don't have time to cook, whatever. But the thing is, if your kitchen looks good, people love it, especially if it's open, it's bright. It don't even have to be white to be bright. It's just all about if you got great light fixtures. People love countertops and stuff like that. And you can get countertops that are like being discontinued. Slabs are being discontinued. If you go to these stores or whatever, like you got these slabs that, either were returned or being discontinued or whatever. People don't know that that slab was from 2020 or whatever. The people, I mean, come on. So it's ways that you can have a high-end look without having the high-end cost. That's just an example. So if your home is worth 180K, right? You invest 20K into a smart kitchen upgrade, you can realistically push your value to 200 to 215K. That's instant paper equity that can later support your refinance, your HELOC, or a strong resale. So you're looking for upgrades that's going to increase your value the most, but in the most economical way. Don't break the bank trying to do all this stuff and it's not worth it. Look at the values in your own neighborhood. Find homes that have been renovated in your neighborhood that matches, as close to your square footage and your layout as possible, and see what they're doing. So you won't waste a lot of money. So the second thing is bathrooms. Buyers love bathroom renovations, and it is a confidence builder. So once they leave the kitchen and then they go to the bathroom, especially in the master bathroom, and they see that it has been done magnificently. Listen, buyers love a good bathroom, especially that master bathroom or the main bathroom. So typical investment on a bathroom is mid-range between 10,000 to I should say 8,000 to 20,000, depending on what you want to do. So you want to make sure that you are doing what you need to do. Smaller bathrooms are going to be less. Like if you have a half bath, if you have a three piece, which is maybe the three piece is just the sink, the toilet, and then the bathtub with shower. That's a three piece. If you have a four piece, which is your bath and tub are separate, that'll be a four. And then the toilet and sink. And then if you have like the double sinks or you want to add the double sinks and stuff like that, double sinks go well in master bathrooms. And also, like if you have a shared bathroom with children and you have, say, for instance, if you have a 3 bedroom or larger, or I'll even say a 4 bedroom, because if you have families that have children, sometimes they have a whole problem with their kids sharing, the bathroom, and they be having had to use the same sink. It takes time. So having double sinks in those bathrooms is a good, the kids' main bathroom should have a double sink. Of course, in the main bathroom, it should have a double sink. So adding a second bathroom, for instance, can add value as well. So, say for instance, if you in Detroit, we have basements, and you have the plumbing. A lot of times, you have the plumbing downstairs to put a extra bathroom. That'll be between 15 to 35,000, depending on like how elaborate you want it. Because a lot of older homes in Detroit only have one main bathroom and a half bath on the main levels, and then they have a half bath, or you can do a half bath in the basement. But if you turn a half bath into a full bathroom, that adds more value to your home. So um, things that that are really good for your renovation when you talk about a bathroom is walk-in showers, especially people that have are taking care of elderly family members. Like I take care of my mom. A lot of people, millennials, are having to take care of their parents. So having that walk-in shower for that extra bathroom, new tile is a big thing. So tile on the floor, tile, backsplashes in the bathroom. Those are really big things. And you can still do a great subway tile and make it look good, for a phenomenal cost. Or you go and get tile that's being discontinued, that's beautiful, and use that if they have enough for your bathroom surround. Usually people love, the tile showers, and one of the things that people like is less grout lines. So the smoother you can get it, where people have less maintenance on, you know, having to clean it, that's even better. Vanities, a lot of trends right now is floating vanities. A lot of people like the floating vanities. It gives a luxury look, but you don't necessarily have to do that. But double vanities is like a thing, like double vanities in the master bedroom, double vanities in the main kids' bathroom is always great if the space permits. And then lighting. Lighting is so essential. For me, I love a dark, kind of sexy bathroom, so I don't like all that white and all that. A lot of people do. But if it was me, I would do it. I would still have great light fixtures, so it would still have the illusion of being bright, but still in a lower tone. Um, like I said, converting half baths to a full bath, that adds value. And then adding a bathroom where it wasn't one, which here is a lot easier for people to have basements, because you have the plumbing already attached and you don't have to do a lot of movement. So going from one bathroom to two can shift your home to a completely different price category. You're talking about adding almost $30,000 typically to your home value when you're adding, sometimes depending on what you add. But I would say between 15 to 30,000, adding an extra bathroom, if not more, depending on like where you do it. So, um, if you're talking about a single renovation can move a house from example of 165K to 185K, depending on the location, and that's just upgrading the bathroom. Now you take upgrade the kitchen, upgrade the bathroom, adding a bathroom. So like in Michigan, in Detroit area, a lot of the homes only have 1.5 baths or just one bathroom. Even adding a half bath adds value, but even adding an extra full, because a lot of these homes, especially the older ones that are being renovated, don't have that. And people are wanting that second bathroom. I know, like back in the day, people only used one bathroom, had like 12 people in the house. How they did it, I don't know. They did it. Listen, to nowadays, people need, they on the go. They need two bathrooms. They want a bathroom for their guests, all those type of things. So adding those type of things into your home will bring the value. So adding livable square footage. If you can do this, this is like the third renovation because we're talking about five. The first one was the kitchen, the second was the bathroom. Now we're talking about adding livable square footage. So here in Detroit, a lot of homes has basements. So if you finish the basement, and a lot of people are missing the mark on finishing the basement when they're doing these flips. But a lot of people are doing it, and it's simple. You don't have to do a whole lot. All you got to do is put up some drywall and put some flooring down, or at least paint the floor. Let people have their own imagination to do what they want to do. But typical bathroom finish will be like 15 to 40,000. If you're doing your basement, depending on like how elaborate you're trying to do it. And that's why I always stress to my clients, you need to make sure that you are keeping, especially if you have a basement, especially here, it's get a lot of, water and stuff like that. You want to make sure your water is waterproofed. You want to make sure the water is, collecting down there in the basement. You need to do your quarterly maintenance and making sure your foundation is good. So if you have an attic space that's livable, I'm not talking about the ones you got to crouch down and can't barely stand up in. I'm talking about the ones that are livable. That is another way that you can add an attic room or a bonus room or whatever if it's livable space. That's typically 10 to 30,000 it costs. And then adding a bedroom or extra bathroom is 20 to 50,000. So for instance, if you have a bedroom home and you add an extra room, that can add value to it. Hopefully you have more than if you do add a bedroom and a bathroom, that's even better. So you take a 3-bedroom house to a 4 and a 2.5 bath, that's increasing the value significantly. So often when you're adding livable space, it can increase your value between 20 to 60 plus 60,000. 20,000 to 60,000 plus, depending on what you're doing. So thank you for those of you that are watching. Please give me some likes, give me some comments. Let me know if this is some great information. So if we're talking about 20K to 60K increase in your value. So your square footage can be appraised for $50 to $150 per square foot, depending on the area. So that's how they calculate home value too. It's the location, but it's also the price per square footage. So if you have great square footage, especially outside of the homes that's in their neighborhood, that also adds value. So things I could say for Detroit, I should say Midwest, period, because Chicago, Indianapolis, Cleveland, all different areas in the Midwest, Wisconsin, we all have basements typically. So finishing the basement is great. If you have an extra space, a nook up in your home, like upstairs, they might have been a porch and then they covered it or whatever, making that an office space or a playroom of some sort, expanding that a little bit because a lot of people still work from home, making legal bedrooms. That's why you have to make sure that you are getting the right contractors, okay, and not doing it in a legal way, or in-law suites, where permitted, Or, maybe you have a garage apartment or something, or you can rent out your basement. You can make it a rental. That could add extra value too. Like, people don't understand, like, when you can rent out your basement, it has a separate access. I know a lot of people like, I don't want to live, nobody living with me. Of course, use your discernment. This is just something that will add extra value on top of give you some income. So if you make that basement into a rental, maybe you put in a little kitchenette, have a bedroom space, living area. You don't need much, and it could be rental income. That the rental income plus adding that those renovations increase your equity even more. So if you finish the basement for 25,000, it increases your home value by 40,000. So you're almost getting 50% ROI. You get about 40% of your ROI, which is return on investment. You didn't you didn't have to spend the money to the same amount of money that you're going to get out of it to do it. So you move the money from savings to equity, and that is wealth positioning. And that's what you want to do. When you own a home, you want a wealth position. You don't want to just be sitting and be a liability. You want to figure out how to turn your home into a wealth building powerhouse. And that's what we're talking about. So the fourth thing is major systems and energy efficiency. This is a big thing because especially in Michigan where we have long winters. It's so cold here. School was closed. Hallelujah. But because I'm a teacher. But we also, it also is a thing where your gas, DTE tax you, okay, for gas. So if you upgrade your energy efficiency in your systems, that can add equity as well. So new roof can cost you between 8,000 to 18,000, depending on what type of roof you want. HVAC system can cost you between 6,000 and 14,000. If you adding that feature, that can add even more value. Windows can cost you between 8 to 20,000. Yes, windows got expensive, but there are programs here in Michigan, and it's also in other states where if you have a home in a certain zip code, you can get your windows sometimes for free. So you might be able to use Habitat for Humanity or some type of other programs to help you get windows and roof repair as well. So think about something of that nature. And did my computer die? It did. But that is something that you can think about doing when you are renovating your home. And we're talking about, just simple things, right? So when we're talking about electrical and plumbing updates, that's like 3,000 to 15,000, depending on what you have to do. If you got like knob and tube and whatever, that's a whole conversion. But if you just make it more energy efficient. So what this does, how to add value, is helps protect 10,000s in value. It prevents appraisal reductions, and it strengthens your refinancing and buyer approval chances when you have up to date efficiencies and major mechanicals. Um, so I know that's kind of like, it's not like in the forefront where people can see, but it's in their wallet is where it's going to make the most sense. So buyers pay more when big systems are newer. So if you're looking to sell, they pay more. Appraisers give stronger condition ratings, which you want it to appraise high, and fewer concessions, fewer failed deals. So if you have major things that's wrong with your home, roof, HVAC, foundation, plumbing, let's say roof, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and foundation. If you have those type of system problems, you're going to have to give concessions, and your deals might not fall through if you have those things. So when if you're thinking about selling your home, you have to make sure all of those are, are functioning properly. But if you follow my maintenance schedule, you won't have to run into that problem. Quarterly maintenance will make sure that those things are still working properly, and you'll catch the small things so it won't cost you a whole lot in the end. So a new roof doesn't always look exciting, but it can prevent 10 to 20K in seller credits and protect the valuation during refinance. So that's what you are looking to do. It's not just for buyers, it's helping you as well. So the last thing is curb appeal and exterior upgrades. A lot of people right? Don't realize how much curb appeal is so essential and important. When people pull up to your home, that's the first thing they see is what exactly does it look like, right? So painting, paint, landscape, entry upgrades could cost between 2,000 to 10,000. You talk about lighting, fixing siding, painting your brick if you want to do something like that, adding, different features to your porch, adding a new door, those type of things is in that range. Like I said, siding and exterior refresh is like 10 to 25,000. Garage door replacements could be between 2,500 to 6,000, depending on like how fancy you want to do that. And if you're adding a garage, it could add like 20 to 30,000 worth of equity off the top, if not more, because it's like almost adding another property on, another structure on your it's adding another structure on your property, which is kind of like something that can be used. And people love, especially in these winter months where you can just put your car in there, you ain't gotta be wiping it off. It's great. So potential added value, so it can increase your value just for exterior upgrades is 5,000 to 20,000 plus, depending on what you're doing. So often this speeds up sales and support higher list prices too. When your house look good on the outside, people feel good about it going in. So first impressions influence buyers' offers. They were appraisers factor in condition, exterior quality, because that's the first thing they see. Emotional response drives competitive pricing. So buyers are emotional. So you need to make sure that you understand and that when you are doing this outside, and with Detroit, you don't have flowers year round. That's why a lot of times people put their houses on the market during the summertime, because you can have flowers and different landscaping things of that nature. But in the end, if you have great brickwork, great siding, great what you call those shutters, and these different types of things. If you have that, great porch feature, people still like a great porch. You know, trees looking, pretty good or whatever. You can still sell a great home. And a colorful door. People like colorful doors. My house had a red door. People used to always be like, "You got that red door." Red doors usually represents that your house is paid for. I found out that, but having a colorful door that matches, the aesthetic, that kind of brings it out and makes it stand out on the block is a great thing. So if two identical homes are listed and one looks more move-in ready from the outside, buyers are mentally justified in paying 10 to 15K more just from the outside. And then once they go on the inside and they see that what you did to that kitchen, that's the first thing. When buyers go into a home, that's the first thing they go to is the kitchen. The living room, kitchen. Living room is kind of like, because you're going to make that your own, but the kitchen got to be immaculate. That master bathroom has to be immaculate. So just a little bonus tip. So equity grows when renovations support one of the four strategies: higher appraisal, stronger resale, refinance opportunities, rental or income potential. So that's what you're looking for. Anytime you're spending money on something, there should always be an end goal. What is the out? What is, how are you going to gain money from all of this? And these are the ways you can do that by doing these renovations. So if it doesn't support one of those, it's decor and not development. Just understand the difference. All right. So smart homeowners don't ask, will this look nice? They ask, will this move my value, my leverage, and my wealth forward? That's, of course, you want it to look nice, but you want the value, the leverage, and your wealth moving forward. That's how you go from owning a home to building a portfolio, even with your own home that you can take and use it to buy other property if your equity is increasing because you did these renovations. So that's it today, y'all. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you for, watching. I appreciate it. If you are watching the replay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Give me some likes, some comments, subscribe to my YouTube channel, do all of the things. And I hope this gave you some insight on what you need to do as homeowners and also future homeowners to add equity and value to your home. So with that, my ebooks, House Rich and Money Smart, How to Turn Your Home into a Wealth Building Powerhouse, is for you if you're a homeowner. giving you the financial strategies. I have all of that I just talked about in there, but with bonus, it's way more elaborate, and that will help you go through step by step how to ask, do the contractors, do all of those different types of things. That is what is in there. And if you are a first time home buyer and you're thinking about a home, Journey to Your Castle is what you need. It goes from concept to mindset, because your mindset's changed, all the way to the closing table, people. So make sure that you're copying those. And Keys to Your Castle is coming soon. So you'll have your whole first time home buyer guide with some homeowner takes in there as well. And it will get you from thought, from finances, all the way to the closing table and beyond. So I bid you adieu, and I will see you. I'll probably see you next Wednesday, real estate Wednesday instead of Tuesday, because I'm gonna be at work and I probably have a meeting. So I'll see you next Wednesday. But also look out for my videos that I'll be dropping. I'm dropping another video on my YouTube on Thursday, but I got some shorts that's coming out to y'all too. So definitely tune in today. Have an amazing day, everyone.